What's up, guys? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Thank you for chilling out with us today. So today I found someone who is really going to impact you. As you know, we like to grow, challenge, and transform our thinking. And today we have Ana McRae, and she's a life and business coach, and she coaches ambitious women and entrepreneurs. And as a success coach, say that 10 times fast, one of her strongest beliefs is that it's absolutely possible to create a world where we are happy, successful, and fulfilled. And so I really, really am glad you're here with me today, Ana. That is something I'm really passionate about too, is women. And, you know, especially women who are transitioning or, you know, getting into entrepreneurship. So this is going to be such a fun conversation. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad you came. I'm a coach too, so I love speaking to coaches because, you know, when you start to learn from each other.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. So, Ana, the way I like to start the show, because I don't know, I like to put people on the spot, I guess. I want to know a little bit more about you, Ana. So tell us who you are.
What a loaded question.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So as you mentioned, I'm a life and business success coach, and I'll share a little bit of the history of kind of what got me here today. So I am originally from Ukraine, which means a lot more now to people than it did a couple of years ago, but we had immigrated to Canada when I was 2 years old. Yeah, it was this classic story of, you know, my parents, me, the toddler, and they had $1,000 to their name, and they moved to Canada to really give us a safe and stable upbringing, which was incredible. And my childhood was fantastic. But what I quickly learned, and what I'm finding is really common with immigrant children or really a lot of people, but especially in this kind of demographic, is this need to overachieve. Right? This need to create safety and security by getting perfect grades, by being top of the class, by doing everything right, by following all the rules. And that was kind of one of the key drivers of my life. And what got me to where I am today, of course, is this drive and this ambition. And I work with a lot of ambitious hyperachievers because I myself can really relate to that. But when that goes unchecked, when you don't align it with your own personal values and you're just achieving what society wants you to achieve, eventually you get to a place where you're just not feeling fulfilled. And that's how I had felt when I kind of had gone through school, gotten perfect grades, gotten a great corporate job, using quotation marks, great being it paid well and I was good at it. But it really left me feeling unfulfilled. I didn't hate it. It wasn't awful. It's just, I'm not sure if you felt this before, if anyone listening has felt this before. It's like this notion of waking up and just not being excited about your day.
Yeah.
Just wondering, is this really all there is, or is there anything more? And to backtrack a bit, I the first time that I really didn't follow the rules was when I had my son in my second year of university. So there I was, 18 and pregnant, and everybody was telling me to take a year off and just be with the baby, and you can always go back later. And that just didn't sit right with me because
Right.
I love a plan. I love a good timeline. I wanted to complete my degree on time. And there was one person that told me, why don't you just do it? Like, why would you take a year off? Why do you think you can't complete your university degree and raise an infant at the same time? And it really taught me the power of having that one person in your life that believes in you or that challenges conventional thinking. And so much has influenced why I'm a coach today, is because having that person in your corner that really sees you in your full potential and helps you achieve that vision, that makes the biggest difference. And I saw that firsthand. So then I go through and complete my university degree in 3 years instead of 4, graduate with a 4.2 GPA and an infant in tow. And I realized, like, that was always possible for me. But I was so close to not creating that level of happiness and success just because of the thoughts in my head, right? Of, oh, well, I can't do this and it's going to be hard and everyone says I should stop, so I should probably stop. And that's what really got me interested in that mindset piece of success.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that is, yeah, it's going to be hard.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, okay. And that's the thing, right? I think I'm really, bravo to you, by the way, because it is hard. It is hard, Anna, right? I mean, there are nights the baby doesn't sleep. There are nights you have to do homework and take care of your child. I mean, there just is, right? And that's okay. And I think you're right. It's that one person that you feel a little bit of support from that can really take you super far, right? And I know you're
Mhm.
probably seeing this now, especially after this pandemic, right?
Yeah.
This shift in people's mindset. Like, I think a lot of people are waking up now and saying, "What am I doing? And do I even
Mhm.
really want to do this?" Right? Because now we're getting back to, I guess, somewhat of a new normal. And people are getting back to the office and getting back to work, and they don't want to go, Anna. They don't want to go, you know? And so that's been a real challenge. So what are you discovering right now with the women that you're speaking to and the people that you're coaching? Like, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges out there right now?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think, for all of the challenges that the pandemic created, what it really created, the silver lining of that was an opportunity to reevaluate your life.
Mhm,
And are
mhm.
you actually waking up to a life that you love, or have you just been going through the motions for so long and not even pausing to answer that question? So
Right.
I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have been running these businesses trying to accumulate a certain level of net worth, and that number always gets higher. You
Yeah,
never hit it and then say, okay, we're good, right?
right.
Your brain is just programmed to continue achieving, achieving, and achieving. But at a certain point, and this pandemic has really been that point for a lot of people, it was like, what for? I've
Right.
wasted 10 years of my life not being home in the evenings or getting called in on the weekends or just stressing
Right.
out about this business that's taking everything up, or especially people in corporate jobs as well. I work with quite a few women that are looking to transition out of corporate and launch their own thriving businesses. It's the same thing, right? It's like this monumental event really gave a lot of people pause and the opportunity to step back, step outside of their day-to-day ordinary life and ask themselves that question of,
Mhm.
is this really what I want my life to look like?
So what was that pivoting point for you? What made you get up and say, what is going on here? What I mean, was it gradual is what I'm trying to ask, or was it just like a sudden feeling that you had and you kind of said, I can't do this? Or how did that work out for you?
I would say it was both, right? So it was this gradual buildup of dissatisfaction. It was this
Mm,
every time I dropped off my son and he was 2 years old and he was the first one at daycare and he was the last one picked up every time because I had to commute 3 hours a day to get to work. And I
wow.
thought, is this right? Like, I only see him for 30 minutes at supper time before he goes down to bed. Is this right? And so it was that little twinge, right? That little
Mhm,
feeling of,
mhm.
this isn't quite sitting right with me, or being called in on the weekends. And I was in consulting prior to coaching, which required a lot of travel. And it was incredible in that I got to work with so many different entrepreneurs and so many different businesses. But it was a lot of time being on, right? In
Mhm.
terms of travel, in terms of weekends and evenings, and kind of fitting around the client's schedule. So I remember one year not being able to make it back home in time from a client event to make the cake for my son's third birthday.
Oh,
And a lot of this is like family focused for me because at that point, well, not at that point, always family has been one of my deepest values. But at that point, I was still trying to balance these two conflicting values, right? Of
mhm.
like the family that I desperately want to be around for, and then this need to overachieve and create a career and prove to the world that because I got pregnant at 18 doesn't mean that I'm a
Right.
failure, right?
I
Which is
so
kind of
get
a lot
that.
of the narrative.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, it was this gradual buildup of dissatisfaction until one day I just couldn't handle crying on Sunday night anymore before I had to head into the office. And I came across this article on the website of this couple that had bought a school bus and they renovated it into a tiny house on wheels. And then they traveled across the
I
United
saw
States.
that. So good.
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I did not even know it was possible to buy a school bus, let alone turn it into something that looks super comfortable and then travel full time. And so that was kind of that moment where it shifted for me is when I saw somebody else doing something completely outside of my box, right, that I had ever known, running their own business, traveling full time while they did it, making memories with their family. And that was the moment where I decided, like, I can't keep doing this now that I see an actual alternative that I want. And I had started to transition into that direction. And so now I'm running a thriving business. We are taking off in less than 3 weeks, actually, to travel full time in our converted school bus
You're
across Canada.
kidding. Oh my gosh. You really did make it there. Okay.
It took a while, but
That
it was
is
possible.
awesome. Good for you. That
Mhm.
is really, really fantastic, right? And you're giving your child memories they can't get anywhere else,
Yeah.
because that's a unique thing too, right? So good for you. Kudos to you. A lot of us watch that. I'm one of them. I watched it. I thought that was the coolest idea ever. I
Mhm.
did not go buy a bus. I did not go full time on it. But that is really neat, Anna. That's really, really neat. It speaks a lot of volumes about who you are as a person and how you're willing to try something new and step out of the box. And I think that's a really good benefit to the women who are going to have you as a coach, because you're stepping out of your own box, so you'll help them step out of theirs, right? That's really,
Mhm.
really phenomenal. How do you go through this with your client? Like, do you have a like your pillars? Do you have like a structure that you go through, programming? How do you do it when you go through it?
Mhm. That's a great question. So, a lot of what I have found really creates fulfilling success in the long run. And fulfilling success is what I help my clients achieve, right? You can have a thriving business, but if it doesn't fulfill you, it's never going to be as
Right.
successful as you want it to be or as it could be. And it's just not going to be worth it in the end if you don't wake up excited about what you're doing, right? And so the way that you create fulfilling success is through clarity, confidence, and consistency. And when I say that, I mean clarity in terms of the high level, your vision for your life, your purpose. Like, what is it that you really want your life to look like? And also clarity on the micro level, right? What's the strategy to creating that life or that business?
Mhm.
What do you have to do each month, each week, each day to put in place those steps, those actions to get you where you want to go? Because a lot of the time, where I see people spinning in circles or not creating the level of success that they want is because they're not clear on A, what that looks like, B, how to get there,
Right.
right? So clarity is a big pillar of the work that I do with my clients. Confidence in terms of your mindset, right? How do you think about the world? What are your beliefs? What are the rules that you live by? How do you interpret the situations that are going on? And a lot of the time, my clients don't come to me for mindset support. They often don't even know what mindset work really is. All they're going after is success, right? I want to transition my business from 6 figures to 7 figures, or I want to make my business go from 1 million to 10 million, right? It's always usually about the financial
Yeah.
success, which is really common in society in general, but also if you're driven and ambitious. What they don't realize is that, the reason you're not at that level yet is because you are holding yourself up.
Right.
And that looks like doubting your decision and taking time to redecide something you already decided a week ago and using your mental energy on that instead of moving your business forward, right? Or assuming that things have to look a certain way, that when you're at this level of success, it's going to have to look exactly like this. And because that doesn't sit well with you, you kind of resist creating it rather than questioning that assumption. Do
Yeah.
you have to work 40 hours a week to run $1 million business, or is that maybe not true? Right. And so it's those small micro thoughts, those nuances between your beliefs and what reality actually is
Mhm.
that really help you shift the way that you think so that you can shift the way you're running your business and shift the results that you're seeing. So that's the confidence piece, right? And then the consistency is showing up over and over and over again, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you have so many different balls that you're juggling. It can A, be really easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
B, you don't have a boss, so nobody's really holding you accountable to what you
Right.
said you were going to do. And what does it, quote unquote, really matter if you push it out a week or 2 weeks or a month, right? Like, you'll
Mhm.
get to it eventually. With my clients, we really focus on building consistent habits in their life, in their business, so that they can show up and create the momentum to get the result that they want.
Yeah, that's good. And I think it's so, and that's why I think uh everybody needs a coach. I always say that, not because I am one, but because I really believe that. I even have a coach, and it's for the same reasons. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
so I'm at six figures, but I do want to get to seven figures, but it's something I haven't gotten to yet. So I don't know what that looks like, right? I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what that'll entail. And so, in order to do that, you have to get a seven-figure person already who has been there so they can help you push forward. Right. Because I
Mm.
think, Anna, our job is so important, right? Because when you're sitting with your client, they don't know what they don't know. Right. And that's why you're sitting there saying, okay, let's get some clarity on this. What is it exactly that you want? And the one thing I'm running into a lot now is I do not know.
Mhm.
I do not know. Where do you wanna go? I do not know. What do you wanna build? I do not know. Like, they really feel they don't know. I think we all know. I think we already are fully equipped with the things that we need to move forward. You just need somebody to help pluck that and pull it forward. Do you believe that?
Absolutely. And I think so much of that really does come down to the decision, right? You don't know, probably because you're putting way too much pressure on yourself to make the perfect decision around what it
Right,
is,
right.
rather than just deciding what you want for now and giving yourself permission to change it later. But if you haven't decided what you're going after, how are you ever going to create it? You're not going to accidentally stumble upon a thriving business and a fulfilling life if you don't intentionally decide what that looks
Mhm,
like for
mhm.
you based on your values.
Right, right. So, do you believe that it's, I was talking to someone, I forgot who it was, and she was saying, that she, um, uh, that things just did like what you were just saying, you can't expect a life to just fall into your lap, and she was kinda saying that her life kinda just fell into her lap, and I'm like, "No, no, no." We all I know that she was, like, huge on manifesting, I get it, but the truth is if you don't put the steps forward, if you don't take the effort, it's not coming. Nobody's coming. Nobody's gonna come save you. Nobody's gonna give you your seven figures. Nobody's doing that. If they do, tell them to call me because I want seven figures too. That is not how this works, right? That is not how this works. So when you see your clients, are you taking them through like a few week process? Is it obviously it's not a one off because you want to always hold them accountable and help them build habits. So how does your program work?
That's a great question. So I work with my clients for a minimum of 6 months. And for 6 months, we meet every
That's
single
great.
week for an hour and we
Great.
really dig into what's the vision, what's the strategy, what are the challenges that are getting in the way, how do we remove them, what's your focus to make the most momentum in the next week. Um, 6 months is where I really see those results start to happen, right? Because your growth isn't linear,
Yeah.
it's really exponential. There's this like plateau of where you're putting in the effort, but you haven't seen the result yet.
Yeah.
And that's usually where people stop if they don't have a coach, right? Oh, I tried to launch a business for a couple weeks, but it really didn't take off. So
Mhm.
now I'm done. Whereas so often it's that moment right before or right after you quit that everything was about to take off, right? But our human minds, they just want instant gratification. So if something's not happening right away, then we tend to pivot, change our strategy, change direction, redecide, worry, etc. So at 6 months is really where you start to see everything explode. And then from there, so many of my clients have been with me for 1, 2, 3+ years because at that point, you're always hitting new challenges,
Yeah.
right? As you continue to grow your business and scale to new levels and really broaden your vision of what's possible for you
Yeah.
in life and business, then you really want to not be in your own head with all of that. And that's why I believe coaching is so powerful is it's not that you don't know what you need to do. It's not that you couldn't figure it out. It's just that you get so stuck inside all of those thoughts and feelings and
Yeah.
emotions, and they're all inside of your own head. And that's what slows you down.
Yeah.
Whereas when you can have that objective person to really pull out what's underneath that and why we're thinking that way and how do we shift that, that's where things really start to feel easy.
Yeah. And one thing I want you listeners to think about too is that it's worth investing in yourself. I know that a lot of us, right, Anna, like we'll invest in our house, we'll invest in our car, we'll invest in our kids, all of that. but we lack to invest in ourselves. And I think that it's a huge opportunity for you to invest in yourself. We're working with Anna and just like really pouring yourself in there, because when you invest in yourself, you have skin in the game. You are going to show up. I love that you do it for 6 months. I mean, that's a good amount of time to really show this woman that she's going to really, reach whatever that first goal or the first hurdle is going to be. And you said you do this weekly as well, so you do it for 6 months and every week?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of time passes if you do it biweekly or you do it monthly. And I've played around with different formats over
Mhm,
the years. And what I've really found works best is that weekly format, in that every single week you have to show up for your life, right?
mhm,
Every single week you have to move your main priorities forward. And it really, I don't know what the right word is. Like it's a catalyst for creating the change that you want to see. Because if you're not all in, if you
mhm.
don't want to make every single day count, then I'm probably not the right coach for you. But I 100% agree with you in terms of investing in yourself, because what else is there really to invest in other than yourself, your happiness, your future,
Yeah,
your life, right? And I know it's so easy to invest in your house, your car, etc., especially when you live in a capitalist society and you want to keep up with the Joneses, right? But and that might be okay if that really really is important to you, but so often we don't take the time to define what our values are and
right,
what really matters to us. And so then we make investment decisions out of alignment with that, and that's how you end up with the nice house and the nice car and the good job, and you're still unhappy, is
right,
because that was never really what you wanted. And if you didn't take the time to intentionally decide that, you're going to kind of end up as an outsider in your own life. You'll be looking in at it and thinking, how did I even get here? Right. And this is
right.
how you get into quarter life crises or midlife crises. It's just the life built out of alignment with your values. But when you invest in yourself, everything changes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everything changes. I mean, my whole life changed because of it. And I always, like I said, I have a coach now. I have a couple of them, I have a couple of mentors and coaches, and I do that on purpose because I want to grow. And I used to invest in everything else but me. And then I mean, you just literally reiterated my life, right? You have everything and you're still miserable. Why? Right? And then when you start to invest in you, you go, "Oh, that's why." I have habits
Mhm.
that are not serving me well. I have self-sabotaging behaviors. I have this, I have, and then you start to work on yourself. It's one of the best gifts you can give yourself, I think, is finding that perfect coach for you that will work with you and work with you through things in your life. So that's a really powerful tool. So before I let you go, Anna, because I know my people are probably like, well, how do I get in contact with her? Let's give them all of your, social media handles and how they can work with you and see what you're doing.
Yeah, so you can absolutely find me on LinkedIn at Ana McRae, or on Instagram at Ana McRae Coaching, or you can pop onto my website, which is anamcrae.ca. And for those people that are listening and have been really inspired by this conversation and would love to explore what kind of support they might need, I would love to offer them a free coaching call to really just
Awesome.
get a feel. If you've never had the coaching experience, or maybe you've had it and it didn't quite sit well with you, or you didn't have the right fit, to really just give you that understanding. Because you can talk about what coaching is all day long, but until
Right.
you experience what it's like to have that breakthrough or that aha moment where
Yeah.
you had never thought of something that way before, you don't really understand what you're getting out of it. So I would love to offer that to your listeners.
Thank you. And for those of you who are listening and not watching, Anna McRae is ANAMCRAE, just so that you know. And I will make sure that I'll link all of her information below. But Anna, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing all those little nuggets of wisdom. I'm really, really glad you came on Straight Talk. I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me, Nina. It
Thank
was a
you.
pleasure.
And guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. You guys are so amazing and super supportive. Make sure that you go ahead and click like, share, and all of that, because Anna's doing some good things. And I want to make sure that you guys catch her, and you might even catch her on her bus. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm so jealous right now. Now I'm going to want to go buy a bus or something. But guys, thank you guys so much for being here and always supporting. You guys are the best. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next
This
time.
broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you